Welcome to Under Two Capes. I'm Jared, and first off, I'm here with MOBEAST Gaming making his grand return. Welcome back to the podcast.
What's up, guys? Sorry, my camera just died right before the podcast, but yeah.
All good. So today we're talking about number one, why is there not a really good Superman game? Because they can do it, they've done it before. And we're going to talk about a lot of the DC gaming news with like Justice League v Suicide Squad and Gotham Knights and what we're excited for. First off, I just want to say again, I am very excited that Ben Affleck is coming back as Batman. I'm like, for the love of God, keep him as Batman. We're good there. So first off, to start off, it's not like they haven't really done a Superman game in a while that's actually been really good, because they did like a tie-in for Superman Returns that actually was not that bad. Looks like we have some technical difficulties, but in the meantime, yeah, so they had a Superman game for Superman Returns where basically it's the idea where it's one of the issues they always encounter with like a Superman game is how do we make Superman, how do we put challenge and like a health bar on Superman per se? Because what was he going to enter the room? All right, admit. So, all right, now he's back.
Hates my computer setup. This is a brand new, like I completely wiped it, so it should not be like that. But okay.
All right. So anyway, so I was talking about they did have a good Superman game, like when they came out with Superman Returns, they had a tie-in game. And what was cool about this game is that, well, for one thing, the hard part about making a Superman game is that you have someone that's invulnerable, right?
Yeah.
They made Superman invulnerable, but his health bar was the city. So you actually had to like save people in order to keep your health bar up.
Which Superman are we talking about again? Sorry, because it cut off right before you started talking about it.
It was the tie-in game for Superman Returns, the movie.
Oh, okay.
And that was free roam. You could do whatever you want. You can even play as Bizarro at some point, which is pretty dope. But that's the way that game handled it. And I think it handled it great. Where the health is the city.
I remember I missed that one, but I did play the N64 one. Is that the same one?
No, that's the
was that one on the PS2?
That's the one everyone hates. We like you're flying through rings.
One? That one, yeah, I actually did not mind that that level. That was actually pretty fun, but whatever.
Oh boy.
I say something very controversial, maybe because I was just a kid. But yeah, it was on the 360. I did miss this one. So but yeah, like I mean, we kind of touched on it last episode when I was on. Like, that's the only difficult part about Superman. I guess we go more in depth is like, how do you make it an enjoyable game where you're not overpowered? You know what I mean? So I feel like probably the only way you could do it is if you follow the storyline, like for instance, like in Smallville, well, several times like he loses his powers or he's like gaining his powers. You see what I'm saying? So
that's what you could do.
Yeah, so because if you play Jedi Fallen Order, you're I don't want to spoil too much, but essentially you start off as a Jedi, you're disconnected from the Force, and you're supposed to regain everything through your memories.
I love that game so much, dude.
It was
They're coming with a sequel. I'm like, hell yes!
All the bugs and the irritation with that.
Yeah.
But it was really fun to play because it was like the first modern Star Wars game we got with like sabers and everything. Some of the character development wasn't perfect, but like Cal Kestis himself
when
and
Vader shows up, I'm spoiling it. When Vader the way they do Vader showing up, I just want to talk about that real quick. It's like all of a sudden the Inquisitor's face just goes like ashen. She's like, "Oh no!" And then you hear the breathing and then the footsteps, and he shows up, and Cal's like, "Well, that's not good,
bro." Vader in that and the Inquisitors in that game were better. I'm gonna say something controversial. Were better than. Not Vader, but the Inquisitors in the game were better than the Inquisitors in the Kenobi show, in my opinion.
Well, that's not controversial. That's true.
But some people will say, well, anything Star Wars, Disney Star Wars is controversial now. Like anything you say. But what I was originally saying is that, like, if you did it where, for instance, so you did a storyline, maybe like alternate, because so many different versions of Superman's story. If you did it where like some villain shows up, Clark Kent loses his powers and he's just like back to normal, or you do it where he goes rogue and he gets red kryptonite and like there's so many things. Yeah, you can do so many things you could do with it. But I think the idea of him like starting up at a certain level, it's been done in video games a lot, and you lose your powers. But I feel like with Superman, that's kind of like most difficult, the best thing you can do, unless you just start him off normally, and then just the villain's so OP he has to like learn and strengthen his abilities.
Or what you could do is make a video game that's an adaptation of the Death of Superman storyline where he fights Doomsday, and then the end of the last boss battle, you actually both win and lose at the same time. And
Yeah,
you die.
you could do that.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking that because like I saw them announce like the new version of the omnibus for the Death of Superman that's coming out in November.
it's like it's an anniversary issue.
Yeah, the new version of it, the 30th or 20th anniversary.
That's how you know they're out of ideas when they start rehashing old ideas. I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah. So I when that came up, you mentioned the topic of this. Oh, they could do this storyline. Because it does, you don't have to take Superman to make him lose all his powers. Because if you look at Spider-Man, he's not Superman, but you start off as Peter Parker already established, and then the next one, Miles Morales, you're kind of newish, so you're sort of learning stuff. So you could do either or. So it's like either one could be done with Superman. It's just the villain or the storyline needs to entice the player, like you have to feel like you need to like get stronger for whatever the story is, not just like it's like lackluster and leveled out.
Yeah.
So there are ways.
There are definitely ways to make a good. And what you could do is you could make it like it's actually a Justice League game, and that the league members all show up.
Yeah, you could
for like a mission or two. It's kind of like you team up with Wonder Woman in this mission. You team up with Batman, and then but the player character is still Superman.
Yeah. Would you want one villain or multiple villains?
I would want multiple because. And actually, what you could do is you could take all the multiple villains that would conceivably like stand a chance against Superman, like General Zod, Doomsday, and Brainiac, and have them all like team up, or like as close to team up as you can get with Doomsday, and that way you have Superman fights the villains that could reliably actually defeat him in battle.
The only problem with that is just like if you want to make a sequel, you start running out of options.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because you would have so many villains in one, and then you would have to do Zod in the next one, but that's been played out so much in the movies.
Just make Darkseid the main antagonist in the first game, because that's about as strong as you can get.
Yeah. Or
I've long said they need a Darkseid game. Can you imagine a Darkseid game?
That's the thing. It's just like they don't really make villain-like games, which is, you know, they just stick to whatever's safe and brings them back more money.
I'm just saying it'd be really cool. Like the origin of Darkseid, the end is you become Darkseid. That would be so dope.
That would be good. I mean, the only villain I could see them make a game of that they would sell is for sure Venom.
And by the way, I just got a fantastic. Here's what they do for a Superman game. They make it where the other Justice League members are mind controlled.
Yeah, you could do that. Or it's just a game where you're playing as different, like almost like Injustice, where you're fighting as different characters in an overall story. You can pick probably a few, and it just all ties in together. Or you make them separate games. You could do that.
That would work. It sounds like what we really want is the Justice League game. So
at this point, yeah, that's what it's turning into.
Which they had. It was called like Justice League Heroes. It was on the original Xbox, and it's basically a supremely watered down version of Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Like you can't like play as any character you want throughout the missions, which I feel like is a missed opportunity. Yeah. By the way, DC needs an Ultimate Alliance style game. I'm just gonna say that right there.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that they have the Justice League, which is more established than the Avengers and the show. Like they had a whole show, like just called a Justice League. And
they had two shows actually.
Just technically too. Yeah, and then you had, and you had like shows like Teen. I mean, that's not the same, but Teen Titans. Like you've done a show like that, I mean, a game like that. People play the Titans like I would when they're young or whatever, they're up and coming, or Young Justice. Like
that'd be interesting. A Young Justice game. They kind of had a tie-in for the show, but can you imagine actually a Teen Titans game?
Yeah. It could be more of that would be more of a beat 'em up. I think that would work better. Because if a huge AAA game, I don't think they would spend the budget on it. I think they would do like a beat 'em up.
Oh,
beat 'em up would work, yeah.
Yeah, I could see
really
that.
Cool. Yeah.
Or what they could also do is do like a DC version of like of League of Legends, where it's a MOBA, but it's all DC characters.
They did have a online. Was it Justice League Online or something like that? I never played it.
They have a massive multiplayer online called DC Online, I think.
DC Online, yeah.
I play that a lot. It's really cool.
I played the Star Wars version of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Knights of the Old Republic. I forgot the name.
You mean the Old Republic?
The Old Republic. There you go. Thank you. The Old Republic.
I did a series, by the way, where a buddy of mine and I were like starting a playthrough, and we just made Star Wars puns the entire episode. Like, you were the chosen one. I have the high ground.
That game had really good cinematic trailers. It still does.
Oh my! That and League, I think, have the best cinematic trailers of all time.
I feel like those Star Wars cinematic trailers are better than everything else we got.
We should make. How about this? An animated Star Wars show just made by that company.
I would love it. I would love it. I think they already started messing around with like anime styled Star Wars stuff. It was the they released some Visions. Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a couple episodes. I need to finish it.
I
watched a couple episodes.
I'm behind on a lot of stuff. I just completed Arcane, so.
Oh, really?
That was dope.
It was good, right?
It got me playing the game because I hadn't played it in years. So I was like, you know what? I'll pick it up. Very fun. But
I never played it. I never played it. I only heard about it. The art style is great.
Mm-hmm.
That had really good character development.
And you don't need to know anything about League to enjoy the show. That's the key thing.
Yeah.
It explains everything you need to know really simply.
Yeah. Very simple. And then it's just like it has the thing is what's cool. It's like it has so many different characters and everyone like their story, their development, everything ties in together. It's done very well. And it's just like there's no fluff. Like everything was good.
Important stuff. By the way, Jinx reminds me heavily of Harley Quinn. I'm sure they were somehow inspired by Harley Quinn for that.
Yeah.
There's too many similarities here.
Yeah. And I had a few friends that played it, and they say like, "Oh, Jinx is a pretty popular character in the game."
She is, and I did like how in League you can unlock the skins from the show for those characters.
Oh, that's crazy!
I'm like, yes. I mean,
I never got it. I need to try the game at least once.
It's so much fun. We'll play together. I have it too. That's the
I need to download those.
That's the one game that runs well on a Mac. So
it scares me because those games I hear get addictive. So I'm like, oh my god.
And the community is kind of you want to talk about a toxic gaming community.
Yeah, you could tell it's a pretty big fandom, and it's like very like it's deep rooted. So
but what blows my mind about League, and I know we're getting off topic, but whatever, this is a podcast, is how big those championships get where they have like a full-on musical conference.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, and I'm like, I watched a few. I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I play games like this, like Age of Empires, stuff like that. Nowhere near this fast paced, but it's cool.
So anyway, DC needs something like that.
Yeah.
Like you could play as like all the different characters. Can you imagine a team of Superman against like a team of like Batman just fighting?
Yep. Like it would work because Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi was one of the first open world, like open-ish world. Was it Tenkaichi or was it Budokai 3? Where you would fly around and like you would have to go to the spots to fight the villains, and you're Goku, and you would play as other characters too. You had to find the Dragon Balls, and you had to fly around in the world, but like you wouldn't interact while you're flying around, but you would just fly around and get to the same place. So like if they were able to do it for Goku in the Dragon Ball Z universe, you could do a similar idea for Superman and add slight RPG elements for Superman, unless you take away all his powers for some reason.
And they did on Steam. Okay, so they have this game. I'm trying to pull it up. It's called Undefeated, where it's basically a Superman game where you're playing as a character that has the powers of Superman. It's just he's like flying around, and like it's a free roaming game. Like crimes will randomly pop up, and you can like save people, and you can do it. And that shows it. You can do a really good Superman game. It's not impossible. You just need creative people to do it.
Yeah. And then the thing is, right now we're starting to see a lot of projects get canceled, especially ones that are
or delayed.
Or delayed.
I was so sad about that. I was like, no, because I know what that means indefinitely.
It's called what? Undefeated?
It's called Undefeated on Steam. It's really I played it. It's really fun. Where you're invincible too, so you can pretty much just fly around and like tank people.
Let's see. Google it.
But yeah,
There we go.
I played a lot of it.
Oh, yeah, this is literally Superman.
Yeah, it literally is that.
What the heck?
It's really I'm like, see, people people not necessarily associated with these big companies are able. Yeah, it's free. It's free, and there's no DLC. It's a complete game. So in other words, they don't charge you $80 for skins.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can do a good game like that.
You could definitely like, and I like the aspect that like you can break through things. Maybe if you did a Superman story somehow, we're on a different planet.
You could do that too.
I feel like that would be cool. Like for instance, like Emperor Zod comes and then
Superman like is captured by Apocalypse, and you have to, and the whole game is you trying to break out of Darkseid's homeworld.
You could do that.
Because here's the thing about Apocalypse: there's no yellow sun, so Superman is significantly depowered.
Yep. You could do that. You could do one where I don't know. There's a lot you can do. Like I'm pretty sure WB will start doing multiverse stuff, so they could do a multiverse where like Krypton's still around or some crap like that.
They do a game that's basically Spider-Man No Way Home, but Superman. They're the last battles like an army of Superman.
Oh, if you did a multiverse thing, where if this like the normal version of Superman versus the version of Superman if Krypton never was destroyed.
Ooh.
And then that Superman turns out to be like evil or something like that, and he's like survival of Krypton comes to Earth or whatever.
The story can be on his Earth. Earth instead of Superman being sent to Krypton, it never blew up, and then Krypton colonized Earth.
Yeah.
And then that version of Lex Luthor goes to a multiverse portal and comes to him and says, "I need Superman." Dude, that would be dope.
See, that's creative. It's risky, but it's creative.
Let me put it this way: it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
It's not
with what DC normally puts out. So it's like, okay, they have a game. The plot of DC Online is Lex Luthor goes back in time to stop himself from killing the Justice League. Yeah. So,
and two, the thing is, it's like if you do the whole typical Zod thing, it's been played out a lot for in terms of story for a lot of like the Superman content.
Man of Steel too. Yeah,
it's still a game. Like you're still playing for the game, but like if they're like, oh, they don't want to play out the same story they've been doing over and over and over. Because they always do restarts and reboots. So they're always starting from the beginning all over again. So it's definitely something you can alter and change.
What they could do is they could make it where Superman can't fight against all these Kryptonians. So he releases Zod, and Zod and Superman team up.
In the multiverse?
In our proposed multiverse game. He goes, you know what? I need backup. Generals, everyone kneel before Zod. Because now it's like Zod, he takes everyone that has God powers. It's like Zod, Wonder Woman, arguably Green Lantern, the Flash. It's like all the God characters versus the evil Kryptonians.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I feel like Invincible would be a good game.
Oh yes.
They keep it cartoonish and all that stuff. It would be perfect.
Yeah, they could have the cartoon art style and
like he's already learning all his powers and it's perfect. Like it's boom done. That's it.
And the final boss battle is his dad.
Yeah, exactly.
And they keep it as bloody as the show.
They would.
It has to be rated M. It has to be rated M.
They have to. And the boys would work too.
Oh, the boys would be straight up. You have to be like an adult to play this game.
Yeah.
Particularly if M. One of the levels is labeled Hero-gasm. And I'm like, oh no. that show is ridiculous.
That game would do good for Ultimate Alliance type of game.
Oh, the boys, but it's GTA. It's a GTA style game, but it's the boys. There you go.
Well, I mean, sure, people have already made mods for that, and it already exists.
Oh, they have. But it's full on. It's actually the boys. It's not a modded thing.
Yeah.
So, speaking of other superhero games, I guess it's a good transition to our secondary topic. The first game that I actually forgot to mention in the beginning of this episode that I want to talk about is Wonder Woman. Because they're making a Wonder Woman game. Can you imagine they make that like God of War?
Do you think that game will get delayed or canceled?
I don't know.
I feel
Let's
like it
assume it
would.
comes out. Let's assume it comes out.
I feel like who's making that game? Hold on. That factors in because if it's still early development, and if, for instance, Gotham Knights doesn't start off too hot, they could cancel that game.
They could, but here's the thing about that is that they want Wonder Woman to be more of this like mainstream character than she already is, and she took a bit of I guess a public relations hit with the Wonder Woman 1984 movie. So they really have to like to like have something good that comes out that's Wonder Woman. So that's why I could see them still releasing the game.
That's true, but I know with the recession coming in, that's also a big factor.
And it's an
So like a
open
lot of
world
them will like,
game.
oh, it's not gonna fly if they're starting to see these new projects. But the thing is, it's like Gotham Knights and Monolith are two different companies. It could be that WB just pulls the plug on it, like, hey, we don't want this anymore. I don't know how it would work, to be honest, but but yeah, like I'm very surprised that they went with Wonder Woman before, like, because we have a lot of Batman games, and I think we're due for like another one, like a next gen one, and I'm pretty sure with Gotham Knights they'll eventually transition to that. And we have Suicide Squad, which is like, it's very interesting that they're going with the not she's Wonder Woman's not she is popular, but like the staples.
Not
you know what I
as
mean?
Here's the thing: Wonder Woman's supposed to be a staple, but she's not because they haven't done anything interesting with her comics in like
for a
so
long
long.
time. Yeah, like she's more popular in the Justice League storylines than her own. And it's interesting to see that they're pushing like the Gotham Knights story, like where you're not playing as Batman at all, and then you're playing Suicide Squad, supposedly Suicide Squad, where it's just like this is a Suicide Squad, and then I have Wonder Woman. So like it's kind of cool that they're branching out than just the main characters. You know what I mean? But
that you would expect to get a game.
Yeah. So it just the only thing that worries me is that because the game was announced so early, because if you look at the Star Wars, what they did for the not the Knights of the Old Republic remake, the other game, Eclipse. So they initially came out and said that they announced that game early just to get interest, developers to come work for them and all these investors. So I'm worried that Wonder Woman is the same situation. Because before this recession stuff, there was always talks of like game developers like there's not enough talent to be spread around for there's so many projects going on. So that's what concerns me. Is Wonder Woman the same scenario as Star Wars Eclipse and Knights of the Old Republic? And it's WB. Like that's the worry. That's the worry.
Oh yeah. As a fan of the Snyder Cut, I can tell you Warner Brothers is fully capable of screwing something up.
Yeah, they could. And like Disney, like they could. I don't know if Knights of the Republic is a different case than Eclipse. They fired a bunch of people, and it's on hold, and they didn't like the creative direction. Whatever. That's supposedly what came out. But I feel like maybe Wonder Woman is in earlier development than both those games because we have more information on those two. That's my assumption, but it could be different. But I'm worried. But like I think Wonder Woman would be a good start for an overall branching game universe of DC.
They should. Absolutely. I think it'd be
really good. Especially with Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad already started. Those two games are more like, do you require like multiplayer aspect? This is more single player. So I think it's a really good start, to be honest.
Yeah, and plus they already have like a gaming world with like the Arkham games. They could just literally say, okay, so this kind of ties into Arkham or not, but it probably doesn't because it's another game studio. But still, they could just haphazardly say, okay, this is tying in. If it's popular, I guarantee you they'll tie this into Arkham.
Yeah. Or they'll just build off of it and start adding different characters: Green Lantern, Aquaman, Superman, another Batman storyline, like so many different things. They could make like instead of like the MCU, like the cinematic universe, they can make the DC video game universe. They do something different because everything's in the movies now. And video gaming is such a huge medium. There's more money in it. So they could do that. I feel like it'd be really cool.
Yeah. And plus, this could be an opportunity to show people how great of a character Wonder Woman is.
And I like that she looks more like Wonder Woman than Gal Gadot looks like Wonder Woman.
What's wrong
She's
with Gal
actually
Gadot's Wonder Woman?
just what she looks fit here, like she works out at least. Wonder
Gal
Woman's supposed to be
Gadot works
Amazonian
out.
Jack. Yeah, but like, do you remember when it first came out? They were their articles were even I think till this day, like she would refuse to work out to like get fit to a certain level. If you look at Wonder Woman, she was Amazonian.
Well, here's the thing: if you
But
look
like,
at
look,
the
Gal
way
Gadot is
Wonder
just
Woman
like,
is,
come on, it's hard to believe this.
if you look at the way Wonder Woman is drawn now, back in the day, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last night. Back in the day, Wonder Woman was drawn like sexy to totally fit. Nowadays, not so much.
Because of certain social political
Yeah,
climates. But I mean, if she's Amazonian, you have to make unless you want to change
dude. In the
her
comics, they had overweight
origins.
Amazons.
Yeah, you can't. I don't know, man.
I get what you're trying to do, but if this is supposed to be a race of warrior women that are
They're
like
superheroes and super strong,
I know.
I don't know, man.
But yeah, exactly. She
Like,
does
imagine
look,
like with Thor, it was comedic, like when he gained weight, and that's his type of character. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and he was still kind of jacked when he was fat. Like, it wasn't anything.
and in Thor 4, they're literally like in the beginning of the movie. Nope, he's jacked now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
back to Wonder Woman. I
yeah.
think that assuming this game comes out, I think that this could actually be a really big release for DC because it has Wonder Woman, and they can use this to actually make Wonder Woman more mainstream and like maybe push the comics a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because you do bring a good point. Like lately, there hasn't been anything. Like, I'm not deep into comics like you are, but I stay in the know. Like, I'll read some here and there. But like all the stuff that I'm seeing advertised, the new stuff coming out, not a lot of it is Wonder Woman centric at all.
Well, because here's why: because DC doesn't put their top talent on Wonder Woman for some reason, but they still expect us to believe that like she's the third member of the Trinity, our top 3 heroes.
Yeah,
really. The Trinity is just Batman, Batman, and Batman, based upon how many comic books and Batman merchandise.
Batman, Joker. There's some Superman, some Justice League, some this, some that. Like,
yeah, but I'm like, you need more of this.
Yeah, you do. I agree.
Plus, if she's, you can make it like God of War, where she's battling the Greek gods.
You could.
There you go.
There could be an aspect of that.
By the way, I am so happy that God of War is coming out on PC. I'm gonna play it. Yeah,
I'm wearing my God of War shirt.
Yeah, because I'm an Xbox guy, so I don't have a PlayStation, and everyone's telling me you gotta play God of War. So I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
Did you play the first one yet?
No, I haven't.
You should.
I will. I plan on actually because it looks fantastic.
It's addictive, dude. It's like I think maybe like a month before I'm gonna replay it. I don't know if I'm gonna replay it on PC or just continue my save data on for my PS5. I just play like do all the other challenges I missed out on. But yeah, I was able to reserve the collector's edition, not the Jotnar edition, for the new one. But that comes with the hammer, all the cool stuff. So I'm super.
Have you noticed that a lot of games don't with their collector's edition? They don't come with a lot of stuff.
The biggest thing, they don't come with physical editions, most of them, and some of them come with like crap that I don't care for. They just come with like one either figure, statue, or one main thing with a bunch of like stickers, badges, and small art book. Stuff is not even that good, but I'll take the hammer or the statue.
Oh yeah, I'll take if it's a weapon I can use. Can you imagine if like someone breaks into your house, a hammer comes at them? I still say if anyone breaks into my house, I'm throwing a trident at them. The trident comes flying through. They're like, "What house did I break into?"
How heavy is that thing?
It's not that heavy at all.
That's just plastic.
It's just it's like wood, I think.
Wood, okay.
So I'm like, oh, okay, it's actually
enough if you sharpen a little bit, add some metal here and there, add some more weight to it, and customize it and chuck it. It could do some damage.
I swear, I'm gonna take a picture on the beach with that. So because I particularly if I grow out the beard and long hair, and then I can really do that. So moving on to our next game, we're going to talk about. We have a Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. Well, this is and this is the game that's tied into Arkham.
That game is supposed to be coming out. I remember it got delayed a few times. Suicide Squad release date. Forgot the release date because it's not coming out this year.
It is coming out. Its initial release date was 2023.
It's still 2023. It was supposed to come out this year, and they postponed it. Yeah, I think they probably didn't want to conflict with two two types of games
Mhm.
coming out, but I'm more like I'm excited for Gotham Knights,
Mhm.
but I'm more intrigued for this
Yeah,
because here
exactly.
you're fighting against Superman and the Justice League. Like, how is
As
that gonna
non-powered characters, that's
as
the funny.
non-powered character? Like, how are you supposed to do that? So that's what's interesting. Like, I'm more interested how the story is gonna play out and the gameplay and like what you're actually supposed to do.
My thing is that I think at one point Wonder Woman is supposed to be snapped out of her mind control because you see in the trailer her fighting Superman. So I'm
Okay.
thinking the objective of the game, what the Suicide Squad ends up doing is like freeing the Justice League from mind control, and then they all take out Brainiac.
Yeah, because here you're in the gameplay footage, you're fighting against like his minions, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You can call them that. So which is cool. It's like a lot of cool finishing moves. I wonder if you can alternate between the characters, or is
You
it just like
can,
you?
you
Okay.
can, and I think it's drop in, drop out co-op, so it's not, so it's pretty much like a Lego game, kind of.
I like that because we were missing out on a lot of couch co-op games with people. Because
Oh
sometimes
yes,
like I miss those days, to be honest.
or like 343, who like idiots released a Halo game
Uh,
without co-op. I'm like,
but they
what?
we're on the beta or the insider test for co-op
For
finally.
online co-op, not split
Fine,
screen co-op.
everything.
And I'm like, oh, come
Do you
on.
know they're gonna do split screen at all or no?
They plan on doing split screen. I'm
But there's no
waiting.
difference. Like it's not that. I mean, it's like you're working on it. Might as well work on the split screen.
I know, but you see, that's hard. And 343 has proven that that they have
It's hard for
difficulties.
343. It's hard for
There's
343.
a documentary, by the way, that someone put together that's like from Halo 4 to Halo Infinite, all the
What
screw
happened?
ups of 343.
What happened?
It's like, for one, they tried to make it like Call of Duty with like loadouts and stuff, and
Yeah.
they didn't do that. They had false advertising for Halo 5, straight up false advertising, to the point where I'm surprised I didn't get sued for false advertising. But
Nah, most of those companies, well, unless you're Cyberpunk, but that's
oh,
pretty big.
I still haven't played that game, but I heard. You know, it's kind of funny. Whenever I get a game that everyone complains about being glitchy, I never encounter the glitches. I always
So
get the good copy.
I had well, I have a beefy computer, so when I played on my PC, I played about 10 hours, and I was like, okay, let me, because there was a lot of issues,
Mm-hmm.
and they were adding stuff. I was like, let me stop and wait. But when I was playing, there was like normal glitches, like Skyrim glitches, like
Mm-hmm.
basic stuff, nothing game breaking. But I had a beefy computer.
Mm-hmm.
It was everyone on like PS4 Slims and all of
Which,
that,
yeah,
which was like,
well, I have a Series X, so I'm like,
so
yeah,
that yeah, so you're a little bit better off than that, but yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, so and also I like how, for one thing, they made Deadshot look more like Will Smith instead of just some random white guy.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, oh, okay, at least they're trying for some continuity.
Yeah.
And I like how they gave King Shark a straight up a machete and like
He
a
looks
grenade
dope.
launcher.
He actually looks really dope.
Yeah, he does. I love that. And and bottom line, it actually looks like a pretty dope game. I wonder if they'll do it like open world, or like one of those games where like the map is so huge that it might as well be open world for each of the missions.
I just don't want him to fill it up with fluff like do Assassin's Creed, because it gets
Oh yeah.
tiring. That gets very tiring.
I really hope that it's not like with Assassin's Creed where it's a leveling game, which I'm fine with that. But
Yeah.
then the next mission is 2 levels above.
Yeah.
That's my one problem, and the reason why I haven't played that much of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because
you have to grind in between
so
every
much. I have to
stage,
do so much boring stuff. I'm like, I want to kill some more Athenians. What are you doing?
Yeah, yeah. But definitely here, like with all these different characters and all using weapons, there's going to be RPG elements for it, for sure.
Oh yeah. And I really hope they don't make it like the Avengers was an RPG game where you have to constantly like pause the game and like swap out elements.
I don't think they will, because everyone learned from that lesson. But I think it'd be cool because you probably could upgrade your like team chemistry or team final attacks in this kind of game.
Yeah,
which would be cool. Like new special finishes or what, I don't know. It'd be pretty cool to see that in there.
and what they could do is like whenever there's a movie that they can release a skin for those characters. Like I guarantee you they'll have a movie skin for this character, and then DLC they can add in other members of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and microtransactions do that, but just keep the single player game fun. That's all I care for.
Well, in terms of microtransactions, they can do that for skins.
Yeah,
but
they would have they would have to be for the online element.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, I really hope there's a DLC we can play as the Justice League. I know it's a little much to ask for.
Yeah,
but
they would probably do it for a separate game.
Yeah. I guess I just want a Justice League game. Is that too much to ask for at this point?
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, at this with Warner Brothers, yes, it is too much.
I think they're leading up to it. I have a feeling they're trying to lead up to it.
That's what they could be doing with Wonder Woman and like Gotham Knights, because I guarantee you at the end of Gotham Knights, Batman's going to come back to life. He's not actually dead, but I guarantee you, they're building toward a game world where the Justice League assembles.
Yeah, because I mean, you see Marvel just doing that mainly with just Spider-Man. So DC probably was like, "Hey, let's."
Dude, I was
Marvel
so salty.
Dominates the movie stuff. And let's dominate the video game aspect.
I was so salty when they announced that Spider-Man was coming to Avengers, but only for PlayStation players.
Yeah, and a lot of people got upset.
I was salty because the Xbox players don't get an exclusive character. So I'm like, okay, at least give us something.
Like Hulk?
Well,
but they didn't.
Oh, Hulk's already in the game, but I'm like, Wolverine.
No, but I'm saying they should have done that. But
yeah.
I mean, it would have been kind of annoying to do that in general. But hey, you're getting Spider-Man on PC in August.
Yes.
I'm definitely gonna play on my ultra wide monitor because I want to do that.
So yeah, me too. All the mods. I have an ultra wide back there, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to play the hell out of that game.
Then I think Miles Morales comes out in October.
Man, I'm so happy that. By the way, apparently the story goes that Xbox could have had the exclusive Marvel video game rights, but they said no.
Yeah.
Who says no to anything Marvel?
This was a long time. This was during the 360 era.
But I'm like, who says no to getting the rights to make Marvel content?
At the time, the games were more about first-person shooters and multiplayer. So, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe wasn't what it was now. So they probably looked at it as a financial thing, and they're like, because like we're talking about, there's like, other than like the Batman games in that era, like there was no other superhero games that were that good. Like you had some of the Spider-Man ones, but they weren't popular.
Or like they tried to do those movie tie-in games, which are horrible.
Yeah, which usually never end up very well at all.
Because the one movie tie-in game that I think was way better is X-Men Origins Wolverine.
That and the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith game.
Oh yeah, that was so much.
That game was fun.
How they added a fighting game for multiplayer.
I was about to say that. Yeah,
and you can actually play it.
Cool.
And when you do Anakin v. Anakin, they'll actually react like, "Oh my gosh, this is so weird. We're fighting each other."
Yeah. That and then the Battlefront games, the first two.
Oh yeah.
Even though they weren't Jedi and Sith, but like you could play as them. But
you mean the actual
originals, not the new ones
that were actually really fun?
The PS2 era.
Oh man,
PS2.
Battlefront 2 was my game before I got to Halo, so I was like, yes.
I used to play that game a lot.
It's mainly because you can just recreate Star Wars battles and just every good Star Wars battle had a mission. And I was like, oh yes.
And then like if you wanted to, you can have a free-for-all death match of just Force users. And main characters.
Yeah, all the main characters.
All the main characters.
You can have you can have Jango Fett fight Luke Skywalker, because that makes sense.
Yeah. I think I bought that game for PC on GOG or GOG. I think it's on Xbox backwards compatibility.
Yeah. That's how I have it. So I'm like, yes. That's a game where like if I have a couple of friends over, we'll fire that up, even though it's original Xbox.
Yeah.
More than the Battlefront. Because here's the thing with Battlefront 2, as much as that game has improved, it's still very limited compared to the original.
And frustrating.
I can't believe they ever had a DLC come out. You had to essentially pay $70 for the chance to play as Darth Vader.
Yeah, and I think that was the big pivotal point in gaming history for microtransactions. That game's changed everything.
I really wish
eventually people got so upset and fed up that like even governments got involved, and a company started like going back.
As much as I can't stand when the government gets involved in things, I really wish they had just said games can't have microtransactions anymore. It's done. Release a finished game. How's that?
Speaking of that, of DC games, have you played Multiverse yet? The Multiverse?
I have. I played it last night. See, okay,
is it
so
good?
it's
I've been hearing
fun.
good stuff.
It's fun as a fighting game when you actually get to a match, because it still like has issues because it's the beta
Okay.
where it drops. So once you get into an actual game, it's so much fun because like if your ally let's say I was playing as Wonder Woman because she's my main in all these fighting games. If an ally gets knocked off a map, you can throw your lasso, grab them, and pull them back on the map.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm like, it's so much fun though. And when you play as Batman, it's Kevin Conroy Batman. You can play. You can use the skin. That's the animated series. You can play in the Batcave where they're playing the Batman animated series music. It's surprisingly is really fun.
I think everyone what I was watching people saying is like they just want variety and creativity in the maps. Everything else seems pretty solid.
Which I guarantee you that'll come later because remember it's a beta, and I guarantee you they'll be adding more characters as it goes on. And the way they do it is that you can earn like currency, not necessarily by playing online. You know, it's just by playing you get currency, which you can use to buy characters and skins.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I saw like
hey,
they had different tiers, and like each one comes with like unlockable tokens for characters that you don't have to like work for, and extra and like currency and all this different stuff. So I'm like, that's fine. At least it's free to play.
Yeah, I'm fine with microtransactions if they also give you an option to like just play and get the character. In other words, if the microtransactions are just buy more in-game currency, I'm fine with that because that's the way it's got to be. But at least they're doing it relatively right. Now it could 100% torpedo because this is Warner Brothers we're talking about. I'm still salty on them for Justice League, but can you blame me?
No.
but all I'm waiting for is so they already announced that like Zack Snyder is going to be like a character in Teen Titans Go. I'm like, please put him in the game. All the movie directors, him versus Chris Nolan, that would be so
Imagine
great.
That'd be funny.
That would be so good. But I guarantee you that game has potential, and it could be almost as good as Smash once you fix all the bugs, because it's pretty much Smash for all the Warner Brothers characters, which I can't believe there's never been a game like this beforehand for all these different people.
Because on Steam, it has stupid good ratings.
It's so good. When you actually play the game, it is so much fun.
It's like, how many? 28,000 very positive overall is very positive, and it's 28,000 reviews, and this came out 10 days ago.
It's so
I was like,
much
I really
fun.
did not expect this game to do this well, not because it's like it wasn't good, is because we already have Smash Bros, and it was like a copy of Smash Bros. I felt like, oh, maybe
but here's the thing,
care.
They made it free, so there's no barrier to entry to play the game. That's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why I think League is so popular, because anyone can pick it up and play it. The only limitation is how much storage space you have in your hard drive. You're good. And honestly, it doesn't take that long to install. It was only a 5 gig game.
I think you're right.
And what's so cool is that the skins are actually varied. It's like with Superman, you can play as the gold Superman 1 million.
Dude,
I'm like, dude, this is actually really fun.
I heard there was like native characters like for that universe, like they were made up, right?
I think there are a few. You can have Wonder Woman versus Arya Stark.
I heard about that. They're gonna be releasing that. Or she's already there.
She's actually in the game. And what's really cool is that they have like free characters in rotation, so you'll be able to play as like all these different characters free occasionally, depending on like the time of day. So it's not like you have to necessarily wait. It's just you can buy the ability to permanently play as these characters.
Oh.
And
I'm like watching the gameplay right now. Like I was watching it earlier this morning because I heard some good stuff.
Dude, it is probably one of my favorite games that has come out recently. Even though it's so simple, it's a fighting game that has like the Trinity versus like other lame characters. But it's like, for one thing, it's original. It's such an original idea to have all these characters in one spot. It's essentially Smash Bros. And I'm thinking at one point, and this is another superhero game I really want, can we get a Marvel versus DC fighting game?
They had DC versus Mortal Kombat.
No, but I'm talking about DC versus Marvel. Can you imagine how much that would sell?
I would. They can't even get Marvel versus Capcom again. And Capcom would be more than willing to do it.
And it's supposedly the story goes that for the longest time it was Marvel that was against crossovers. DC's always like, let's do it, let's do it.
Yeah.
But
well, also no, because DC did their crossover Mortal Kombat because they own Mortal
because
Kombat.
it's owned by Warner Brothers.
Yeah, so
they're
able to do it. So I feel like when you have like Warner Brothers and Disney in the same table,
oh boy,
I can't imagine.
But I'm just saying, if you do it, it would sell.
It would sell a lot for sure. Even just Marvel versus Capcom and all those, like they would sell in like it's like crazy.
It doesn't even have to be like a story. You could just have it be like multiverse, where it's just characters fighting.
Yeah, I would buy the passes for all the characters.
Of course I would. That would be the most I've ever spent on a microtransaction game. I'd be like, I want to buy all the characters. That's a collector's edition that they should do. You unlock all the characters. There are still for multiverses, they have like these special packs you can buy that have like unlock tokens. You can instantly unlock certain characters as they come out. I saw that
they come different. Like the $40 tier gives you 15, and then like the other one's like 20 or something like that.
I'm debating if I should get one of those, but
I might start off with the standard just to see how it goes, because 60 or 100 and like you don't really know exactly how many can. Because what I understood is like you can use those on whatever characters you want, so you don't know how many characters they're gonna like that they're gonna release.
Yeah, they could release Darkseid, and I'm like, oh hell yeah! That was the reason why I pre-ordered Injustice 2, because the dude said, "Oh yeah, pre-order, you get Darkseid," and I'm like, oh hell yes! That's literally all you have to say to get me to pre-order Injustice 2. But going to the next game we're going to talk about is Gotham Knights. Okay, I don't believe Batman's dead. I guarantee you they're going to bring him back. And like maybe what they could do is, so they're doing the Court of Owls. They could make it where the Court of Owls faked his death and then have him under mind control. Because Batman's been mind controlled before.
And for them to have Batman die in a game like this, actually dead, I don't think so.
No. Plus, Batman never dies.
Never dies in a storyline.
He died in like Final Crisis, and then it turns out no, he just went back in time.
And unless if they're trying to like connect it to other stuff, like he can't die.
So. Yes, exactly. I do like though the selection of Bat family characters you can play as, like Dick Grayson. I'm just gonna play as Jason Todd mostly because he's the badass. But I saw a little bit of the gameplay of like Batgirl, and yeah, you definitely can tell it's made by this by Rocksteady, because it looks like the Arkham games.
Exactly. It feels, even when you're on top, like on the skyscrapers, I'm like, this is like just literally like an Arkham game. It's the exact same thing.
My biggest problem with Arkham Knight is that they never added in any other new skins or characters as like the years went by, because with Spider-Man, they did. They had like all the No Way Home skins. I'm like, why don't I get a Ben Affleck Batman tactical suit skin, or like a Robert
I think
Pattinson
at the
skin?
time also that Superman came out, what, 2017? Arkham Knight.
Man of Steel, it came out 2013. BVS came out 2016, I think.
Right. Like I think
they had the BVS skin for Batman in Arkham.
Yeah, Arkham Knight came out 2015. So that was kind of like the resurgence of like superhero games. So I didn't think they were thinking that far out, but and also it's like Spider-Man.
No, I'm just saying nowadays was Batman. I'm saying nowadays they should be like, you know what? Let's just release all, because like this way, this Arkham Knight, the reason why it's my favorite of those games, because you get to be Batman. You're free roaming Gotham City in a Batmobile. And by the way, I don't want to hear anything about Batman not killing people. You hit them with the Batmobile at high speeds, they're dead. You shoot them with riot suppressing guns, which, by the way, if you shoot a beanbag at the velocity that it's being shot at, yeah, you're gonna kill them.
Yeah, I feel like now it's like the game's like what, 7 years old. They're not gonna go back and spend time and add stuff, because most people are not gonna revisit and play it again.
They could cause a resurgence, but beyond that,
there could be. Yes, I agree. I'm with you, but I'm just talking how they think. Like they're like, oh, we're not gonna waste our time on this.
And once again, it's a company associated with Warner Brothers. This is gonna be the Warner Brothers dunking episode, which in our defense, they make it so easy.
Yeah.
But so again, I do like how you can play as all of the different characters, but what I'm wondering is that do you think they're going to make it actually co-op like the Suicide Squad?
Gotham Knights?
Yeah.
That's what I understood initially. That it has a co-op element. Now I don't know if it's drop in, drop out, or you have to keep the same.
Or is it split screen? Can be played with 2 people, and each of the 4 characters can be mixed and matched. So if you and I were to play, you could play as Rob, and I could play as you can play as however many characters you want. And what I'm seeing is that is it split screen. That's what I want to.
Split screen, I don't know, but for sure it says co-op multiplayer, but I don't know if it's online or not.
However, leaks suggest expanded to 4-player co-op with extra modes. Three-player, you can play as a character. However, if you don't want to play with friends, you can play the entire game on your own. I like that, where they allow you to actually like play on your own if you want to.
You could probably see on the Steam page. It says online co-op.
Oh,
it doesn't say split screen on Steam.
There's no option for split screen or couch co-op. Dang it! Well,
most games don't do it anymore, man.
and they're wrong. That's why. But
so you would have to just set up 2 consoles or 2 devices in your household.
Well, if it's crossplay, I could just tell someone, bring a laptop. We're doing this.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I do like how, for one thing, it has a co-op element, which there's no way that game of all places would not have a co-op
characters and not have it. That's pretty bad.
And you can actually you're never forced to play as a certain character. You can play as whoever you want. And it's the same thing with Suicide Squad. You can play as any member of the squad you want. If there's one that you particularly resonate with me, it's going to be Deadshot because he has a jetpack and guns, and Red Hood because he has guns.
Yeah, Nightwing looks pretty cool too, though. I'll be honest, he looks pretty cool.
Nightwing was pretty dope, yeah. I also love how they're saying it doesn't take place in the Arkham universe, but we're going to take heavy plot points from Arkham Knight.
But doesn't Nightwing kind of look a little beefier, like more swole than the comics? Because in the comics, he's like he seems like he's wide-shouldered, but he's not. He's like slender-ish, like
he's
athletic.
He's a little more slender, yeah. He's like
he's like yoked.
They made everyone here built like a fridge, particularly Jason Todd. If you look at Jason Todd, I'm like, oh no. Tank. So he's the bruiser in this group.
Yeah, Batgirl looks at, and Robin looks more like he needs a little bit, but he's more true. But so is Batgirl. but Nightwing,
I wonder if the skins will be, if there'll be a skin of her in the wheelchair because of what happened with her in Joker.
Oh, damn. Maybe at the end.
Yeah, that'll be hilarious because they show that in Arkham Knight. But once again, I'm like, I love when they say it's not in the Arkham universe, but you know how we killed Batman in Arkham. Killed Batman. Well, I guarantee you also in Suicide Squad he's gonna come back at the end because they show the Batmobile in the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm like, anytime you kill Batman, do you really expect me to believe that he's going to stay dead? Particularly how many comics and how much merchandise that DC publishes for Batman,
and how much they rely on him to make money.
Yeah, and I was saying this in my podcast a little while ago. I'm like, the DC uses Batman to excuse their horrible writing on the other characters. So like, it doesn't matter what we do with Wonder Woman because we can always prop up our sales with Batman.
He's always the safety net for their financials.
But
anything Batman is essentially, you're right. Yeah.
But I do like, for one thing, I like how they're going with the idea of the Court of Owls because I think that's a fantastic idea to like have them be the main antagonist.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done anything yet with the movies with them, but
they probably will. I guarantee you. In Matt Reeves, the Batman 2, they're gonna do because they set up the Court of Owls so perfectly.
Yeah. I hope they do it. I hope they do well.
Which they could because that's like one of the top Batman stories of all time.
And everyone's asking for it.
Yeah, I'm like, why not? They did in the animated movie. Why not do it in live action? There's no reason not to.
Their animated stuff is always like spot on and solid.
Except for Injustice.
You know, I never really watched that one.
Because what they did is they tried to cram 5 years of comics in an hour-and-a-half movie.
In
1 hour-and-a-half movie. What they could have done,
at least 2.
What they could have done is done year 1, Injustice year 1. Just try it out, see if it's any good. And then if it's good, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. They could have done that.
They could have done. Yeah, you're right.
And then they like kill the Flash and like have everyone forget that the Flash is gone. Like what?
Well, technically, the Flash is gone right now.
Oh yeah.
Dude, all the memes were
That's why I'm
hilarious.
thinking. At
That's
what point?
so funny.
I know. At what point? That gives a whole new definition to the old meme "Run, Barry, Run." But at what point does Warner Brothers decide let's just pull the Flash movie?
Yeah, they said they're still gonna air. I don't blame them, to be honest. Like they've dumped a lot of money into it, whatever. But they
here's
probably
the thing:
they're not gonna re-sign him, obviously. But
if the actor does something really bad, like if someone ends up hurt and or dead, they will have to pull.
They didn't find him, huh? Not yet.
They didn't find. Oh, well, here's the thing: they or however you want me to identify this person.
By they, I was saying about the police, like
but is he?
I know what you mean.
The thing is
confusing now.
I don't want to get pulled off of YouTube.
Anyway, go ahead.
So Ezra,
never
really like went on the run. When the news said the police couldn't find us because tribal police and he was outside of their jurisdiction.
Oh,
but still, like,
but Ezra's with a minor, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, you might as well just face the music, dude, because you're not doing yourself any favors. But my question to you is, okay, if let's say they decide to pull the Flash, what do they do with the other movies? Because the Flash is supposed to reboot the continuity.
Such a difficult decision because this movie got delayed how many times?
So many times.
And it's reliant, and it's like, it's not, and it's so far, it's already ready to go, and it's not like where you can go back and change everything and delay it.
Yeah, because if this was like Michael Keaton had done something, that's fine. Because
that's another thing. They didn't pull Amber Heard, did they?
The rumor is that they're going to do it. In other words, they're going to clear her stuff from Aquaman because she has such a minor role in it. They don't need her in the movie. I'm like, either do that or put Emilia Clarke in the movie as Mara.
You can just switch it, like just switch the actor.
I'm telling you, Emilia Clarke would have been a better choice as Mara. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, she's the mother of dragons, dude.
Yeah, and she already has chemistry with Momoa, so you got that.
Yeah, there you go.
She goes, "Where are my fish?" But my point is that if they do pull it, they're gonna have to do major reshoots on a lot of these movies. And I was saying for a while, what they could just do with Batgirl is just say that takes place in the Michael Keaton universe. That's it.
I just don't know like how it's. There's no way they can redo anything with the Flash unless I feel like they'd rather just cancel and just make a whole new movie. Not even like reshoot anything.
What they could do is cut out all the Barry Allen stuff, make it a Michael Keaton Batman movie, and make it Flashpoint Batman.
But then it just would do bad.
Well, that's true because the last time they tried to recut a movie was Justice League, and we all know how that turned out.
I mean, unless they hire a bunch of deep fake talent off YouTube and they do it. Dude, did you see, like, sorry, bring this back up.
Yeah.
Like, did you see how Disney butched, like, Anakin didn't have a scar during the Order 66 scenes? He had a scar on his face. He didn't have it.
Oh,
and
really?
Then the scene where him and Obi-Wan were training on Coruscant, that they kept Hayden Christensen looking old and Obi-Wan looking younger. And I'm just like, and then people on YouTube 2 hours after the episode released, they made their own deepfake version of it and fixed it.
Just hire the YouTube.
Why couldn't you do that? You did it to Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker, like,
and that actually looked pretty not bad. It still looked meh, but it wasn't as bad as like that. It wasn't.
Yeah, I was like, you guys didn't even try on this one.
I mean, you could like there's plenty of people on YouTube that if you give them a budget, they could deepfake Ezra Miller out.
Yeah, they could easy.
But I'm just saying, if they pull it, that's gonna. But eventually, I feel like if Ezra keeps doing stuff, they're gonna have to pull the movie.
Yeah, I think they're just praying that things die down. But regardless of how it goes, even if they keep him in there, it's gonna struggle because of that.
And honestly, I do think this movie's gonna bomb.
Yeah,
because of what's happening.
I'm not a fan. I was never really a fan of Ezra Miller as the Flash.
I think
after seeing, like, I wasn't crazy about the CW shows after season 2 Green Arrow and season 1 of Flash. I feel like that Barry Allen was better. I
mean, the Snyder cut did a little bit better with the Flash.
Yeah, but like when you look at Ezra Miller and like he's not Barry Allen to me.
Well, and here's the thing: DC has long been trying to turn Barry Allen into Wally West. So,
like, he just, I don't know, man. Like, I know they don't like to mix and match CW with the movie stuff, but like, I think that was, yeah, they could have done it.
which, by the way, the CW Flash is very much more of a Wally West than a Barry Allen. I'm just gonna.
But he just looks like him more. Like it feels
even
more
though the hair
Flash.
color is wrong. Even though the hair,
even the hair.
wrong.
But I'm saying just at least, yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I admit that. But it'd be so funny if like halfway through the movie he gets like knocked out. He wakes up. It's just Grant Gustin. That would be so good. They didn't explain it.
That it'd be difficult for them to decide what to do with the movie. It's supposed to come out this end of this year, right?
End of the I think no, they postponed to last year. That's why they brought back Ben Affleck as Batman, because that Aquaman's coming out this year. I think this year, or at least it's coming out before the Flash. And the Flash is supposed to place Michael Keaton as the in-universe Batman, which I think is a dumb idea. But let me put it this way: I love Michael Keaton, but he's too old to play the main Batman. I'm just gonna put that out there, particularly when you have.
We'll see what they do.
Particularly when you have one of the best Batman ever, Ben Affleck Batman. Remember when we were all so upset that he got cast as Batman because of what happened with Daredevil?
I wasn't.
I was a little hesitant until I saw the trailer. We had like the Batman voice changer, and I was like,
I was more hesitant about Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, that's true.
And he blew me out of the water. I was like, I'm gonna shut up.
As soon as I saw that first trailer, he goes, vengeance. I'm like, okay, that is Batman. Thank you. Although his Bruce Wayne was atrocious.
Yeah, because he's younger and he's like all like.
But they've done the year one Batman where in the Christian Bale Batman where he shows up and he has the two personalities all good. So
yeah,
I'm like, you already did that and gave me a better version of it.
Yeah.
Although that movie did feel a little too long.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna end and it just kept going. I was like, I'm not gonna say no, but all right.
Yeah, I know it's like 3 hours long, and I'm like, I get it. You want to tell the storyline, but at least the Snyder cut, even though it's 4 hours, it had more stuff going on in those 4 hours.
I was able to watch it at home and pause.
Yeah, I know. It was divided into chapters.
Yeah.
There you go. I was talking to someone. Can you imagine if Zack Snyder does come back to do Justice League? It's like an 8-hour cut of Justice League.
I wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't mind. I'd binge the whole thing. I've seen the Snyder cut 9 times. So
damn.
I'm working on 10. Someone came into my stream and said they watched it 200 times.
Yeah, they're probably not doing anything else but that.
Yeah, I'm like, and the person followed up with, I have insomnia. I'm like, well, that explains it.
How many years old now? One?
2?
1? Yeah.
And they just released it on digital.
So you're watching it like almost every day.
Pretty much every day.
Dang.
I watch clips of it every now and then because it's like,
yeah, I do that for a lot of movies. Like,
it's the Justice League movie. I refuse to admit that atrocity called Craptus League ever existed. I still have the movie as an object lesson as what patience comes from and what Warner Bros.
It'll be a historical piece.
I guarantee you they're going to be teaching this whole situation in film school. No reason not to. But so before I let you go, can you imagine if they can? So the other thing I want to end with is
okay.
So DC did make a lot of announcements. It's a few announcements at San Diego Comic-Con.
Okay.
Like, so what do you think of the Black Adam trailer?
How do I say this? I used to be a diehard Rock fan.
Oh, really?
Movies. Like, he was cool. I liked it. He was, but now I feel like I'm just kind of too tired of his stuff. That adds to the bias. I looked at it. I was like, I don't know. It just seems like too like rock-ish, like bad. Like when they initially announced that he was gonna be Black Adam, I was hyped. Then I saw the trailer. I was like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't look anything.
Trailer 1 was not that good. I'll admit.
I was like, okay, I'm not too hype. Let me watch it. Like, let's just watch it and see first. Because Shazam was amazing. Like, you never really thought Shazam was going to be that good. You know what I mean?
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really good. But the Black Adam was like, I don't know, man. The Rock has been kind of like stale for me lately. Because it's nothing different, nothing new. It's just like him being action packed and a superhero. I never saw I never saw him as like a superhero kind of actor.
Yeah, it's true. Even though he
But
is like jacked as
again,
hell.
I'm not. It's just how initially my impressions off the trailer. Wait and see the movie, and then I'll decide.
The
But
rumor is that Henry Cavill is supposed to show up and fight Black Adam. So I'm like,
but
ooh.
did you hear what he said? I thought something about like someone asked him about Superman who would win, him or
He
Black
said it
Super.
depends on if the right person's playing Superman.
So do you? People were saying that
And
there's a
then later he
possibility.
followed that up but by singing the praises of Henry Cavill Superman. So I'm like,
So
it's pretty
everyone was
obvious who
like,
you
so
think is
are
like.
you crapping on him or something?
Well, I'm like, it's pretty obvious now who you think is the right Superman. So
Who did you think he was thinking was the right Superman?
I don't know. He can't say Christopher Reeves.
Yeah.
But can you imagine they deep fake Christopher Reeves?
I don't know. I feel like Henry Cavill should always be Superman.
Oh yes, 100%.
I don't think anyone else can
He's
be
the
Superman.
dude. I think
Yeah.
Zach perfectly cast all the Justice League people.
Yeah.
Even Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman.
But I think Henry Cavill's enjoying The Witcher more than DC.
He said
Maybe
he would come
because
back. He's all good to
yeah.
come back.
I think it's also complications with WB and all the other crap. That like, politics, Hollywood politics, whatever. Who knows? But
we'll see what happens. But anyway, you kind of referenced this. That Shazam trailer was really good.
I didn't watch it yet. I'm gonna be honest.
You didn't watch it yet?
I haven't watched it yet. I saw that I pushed it. I was like, I haven't watched it yet, so I need to watch it.
So we have the movie looks really good. It looks like an actually good follow up to the movie. It's still in the same comedic tone. So I'm like, oh,
I like that actor. He did a really good job. He did. Oh yeah, he did
fantastic.
Yeah,
isn't he Chuck?
Yeah,
from the show Chuck.
What?
I think he was. I think he is that dude.
Dang, you're right.
Yes. I was like, I knew you from somewhere.
You're right. He is. But obviously a lot younger.
He was also one of the Warriors 3 in Thor 2. No one knows. Yeah, he was in Thor 2 as the dude with the sword. So if you look very carefully, he's not in that movie that much, and it looks like they hit him behind a beard and stuff. But that's actually Zachary Levi. It was only in Thor 2.
He was in what's that one Disney show? Tangled? What the heck? He was a voice actor?
Yeah, he was a voice actor, I think, for the Prince, I think.
Yeah, he was. Oh dang.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that has been everywhere, but he just
Bro, he does not. Oh my god, that is him.
Yeah,
with blonde hair. Does not.
Yeah, that is him.
What the heck?
Now, and then real quick, in terms of the MCU announcements, I know you said you're not really that big on the MCU, and but when they start telling me they're gonna have like Daredevil come back, I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. And John Bernthal's Punisher is coming back.
Yeah, but like, I think the biggest problem we have right now, just not just Disney and Marvel, it's like just in entertainment content in general. It's the barrier to entry or the barrier to like produce these things is number one, they have more money and the costs of things have changed that they're able to produce so much now. And yet at the same time, they have to keep making money. They have to keep pumping them out. It's like they're in a catch-22. It's like the quality of these things that are coming out aren't up to par anymore just because
the CGI
or just because like Daredevil's coming back, like just because the name is good doesn't mean it might be done well. So we had a
but here's the thing:
Star Wars
with a Daredevil show, you don't necessarily need that heavy of a VFX thing.
No, I'm not just saying that. I'm saying in terms of like effort,
that's true.
Character building, hiring the right people, all that. Because if you notice, like a lot of these companies stick with the same group of writers they keep using, and not everyone can write for a certain. Look at Rian Johnson. He wrote Star Wars Episode 8. And then he wrote Knives Out. You would not have guessed. Like, have you seen Knives Out?
No, I haven't.
It's a good movie. Watch it. It's really good. But like, you wouldn't like, how did this dude do? But like, so everyone has their talents, and I think there's an issue with. They're like, oh, let's just take this franchise. It'll automatically make money because people will always pay for that franchise, and not really think about like, okay, let's actually like think of putting effort or thought into hiring the right people to do so.
That's true. I
See
can
what
see
I'm
what
saying?
you.
Like the MCU worked because they had the Russo brothers in charge of the whole thing. They oversaw
Yes.
everything, not just, hey, we're taking a step back and overseeing. No, they were heavily deep involved.
Hmm.
Here now, it's like all these different people are like doing this director for this writer for this episode, this for that. Like you can't do that.
Hmm. You
You
need a
know?
singular like
Yeah,
through
you
line.
take your time, and they took their time in the beginning. Remember how many Marvel movies were coming out? Very little.
Hmm.
They were
Yeah.
starting out. They
Now
were
it's
getting it
like multiple
feasible.
per year.
Let's establish like how things are gonna go. Now they've at a point. We gotta pump out this stuff for money. At the same
Hmm.
time, like Disney needs to pump out these things to keep the streaming service alive.
Hmm.
So there's a time period because eventually, if you're not producing content like on a platform like that, people are like, why am I paying for this? I'll just buy it
Yeah.
again. Why do you think now they only do episodic, weekly
Hmm.
episodes, not all at once?
Yeah.
Because people all buy it for the month. No, 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 no. You're gonna, and they do it where it's just like, okay, you have to sit here for 2 months, like, and then the next thing
Yeah.
comes out. Like, it's. I mean, it's business. That's how it is. But like, that's my thing. And it's not just Disney. Just like I think like industry wide, even in video games, there's that issue going on.
Well, with gaming, they keep releasing an unfinished product and a
That's another
glitchy
thing.
and
Yeah,
unfinished product.
and I just
But
focus on microtransactions versus story, but that's a whole different
yeah,
topic. But yeah,
speaking of gaming, one more topic. So, did you watch the Halo show?
no, we talked about that. I watched
Yeah.
20 minutes of it. I was like, nope,
Okay.
I'm not watching this. I knew exactly how this was gonna go. I
My
was like,
big
it
red
took me
flag,
10 years for you guys to come out with this. And the
like
first 20 minutes,
27 rewrites.
and I
My
was
problem
like,
with the show is
I
that
waited 10 years for this 20 minutes. I can't even get through. I was like, I'm
yeah,
not doing this.
there's 9 episodes, 3 of which have action for 10 minutes. That's the first red flag. Second off, the chief takes his helmet off multiple times. Second off, the chief has sex with a Covenant spy that he
Yeah.
just met and says, I trust you. What?
Yeah, I can't do that.
As soon as that episode airs, and when I reviewed it, I put in the thumbnail, what did I just watch? At that point, I was like, okay, I was willing to be a little more forgiving of the creatives. Then I saw that episode and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
You know, it's bad when the showrunner quits before the show even airs.
That's what I'm worried about the PlayStation movies and shows are coming out with.
Well,
they're making God of War. They're making a Gran Turismo. Oh my god, that could be cool, but like, I feel like video games and movies don't mix. It's doable, but you can't bank on the movie to be as good as video games anymore.
Well, here's the thing. Then on that logic, how did Arcane turn out so good?
It's an outlier. It's not a movie, it's a show. Because a show you have up to 8 to 10 hours to establish things. A movie you have 2.5.
All right, then how about Sonic?
I did not watch that yet.
Oh, it's really good. It's actually good. It does break the gaming curse.
Okay. It does. I agree. That's an outlier.
I love that.
The argument. Let's just put Arcane in it because Halo's a show, not a movie. Put Arcane. There's 2 outliers.
Can you imagine how bad Sonic would have been if they had kept in the old Sonic design?
But do you think, because like Sonic's a little different because it does have a story, but every game plays differently.
That's true.
And it's not story driven. So maybe that's why it works. And I think League may be the same thing because it does have a story, but it's not like a cinematic video game like Halo, God of War, all these other ones where there's like things being played out in detail in 3D. With like League of Legends, I don't know exactly, but based off what I've seen, it's not like that 100% all the time. So I think maybe that's why it works, because you can add more. It's an addition versus I'm gonna take the exact same story here and put it in a movie with live action and alter the story.
Heavily alter the story.
Heavily alter the story. If you take a game that never really had that element, I think it could work. You know?
Yeah. In other words, not every game can be adapted successfully. Yeah. I mean, I think they could make a successful Halo show had they decided, okay, it's going to stay in canon. It's not going to be like some BS silver timeline, and we're going to have Chief actually act like Chief. It was a problem when the creative said, well, we set on an alternate timeline because it would interfere with the story we were trying to tell. Then change the story. Yeah.
And Spider-Man doesn't count, people, because Spider-Man was a comic first, then a movie, then a show, movie, Batman. And then so it doesn't work that way.
Same thing with Batman.
It has to be the reverse. It has to be an original video game adapted into a movie.
Which, by the way, the movies don't do a good job of adapting the comic books at all.
Yeah, they don't, but they're still enjoyable. Like
they're still enjoyable. It's like if you read Captain America: Civil War, then read the actual Civil War comic, you're like,
different things. Yeah,
what the heck happened here?
Yeah,
there's She-Hulk in this one,
and it's just like I feel like if they're gonna make video games into movies, like sure, make it its own version, but do it justice.
Yeah.
If you want to change the story, let's move past that. They're going to no matter what. But like do it justice. Stay within the realms and the parameters of that world and that story.
And second
that's my thing.
If you have a Halo show, have action in more than 3 episodes for 10 minutes.
And not take off his helmet.
I mean,
that's like saying Spider-Man. You make a Spider-Man game, but he's not Spider-Man. He's going to be some other superpower.
What you could have done, what they could have done was actually have like a camera perspective showing him in the helmet. You could still show the actor's face, but the Chief doesn't take off the helmet in the presence of others. He even takes it out in a combat zone where he could be domed by a sniper.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I love the actor's response, because he was like, well, there's no like in-universe rule like with Mandalorian where you can't take off his helmet. I'm like, but there's a rule among the fans. You don't take off the Chief's helmet.
And then the game insinuated when they did it as a joke, like there was that joke on YouTube.
Yeah,
where's the helmet?
There's another helmet. Someone made that as a clip. It was like I made it, but it's lore accurate. He takes off the helmet. There's another helmet.
Yeah. So it's like it's agreed upon. It's an unspoken word, rule. So.
I think Corridor just did a video where the Chief takes off his helmet. And he's like super ugly. His eyes are going in different directions. And then the girl that took off his helmet just puts it right back on. Oh, and also the other red flag is that they didn't have the actual actor come back and like voice the Chief.
Yeah, that's why I was like, what the heck kind of voice is this?
They could have easily done. I mean, I get it. I think he was pretty decent as the Chief with the Chief voice, but it was like, oh.
Yeah.
Plus, they had too many episodes where they showed someone's naked rear end, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? The point is, trust me, I could do another episode on all the stuff that they've gone wrong. And trust me, if you listen to my season 1 review, what I did is, so I have that helmet up there signed by by the Chief and Cortana.
That's sick.
So what I did is I spent the entire 40-minute episode wearing that helmet to prove that's not hard for the Chief to wear his helmet. I was like, come on, dude, wear the freaking helmet. Or have a different Spartan as their main guy in the Chief.
Yeah, maybe a different Spartan. Yeah, not Master Chief.
They could have, and see here, they made it too much like a generic sci-fi show.
It did. I got that vibe instantly after the first 20 minutes.
Which is sad because the visuals look good, the armor looked good, everything looked good, but the logic and the characters were just like, You know what's bad? When people are falling asleep watching Halo. By the way, my buddy, when we watched episode 1, he called it, as soon as Mcu shows up, he called it, she's gonna sleep with the Master Chief. And then when that happens, he legit from episode 1. When that happens, I have a recording of him having the most expletive laden rant going, I knew it. It was so good. But on that note, I think that's a good place to leave it. Moby, so it was a pleasure having you on again.
Thank you so much, man. It's always a pleasure to be on here. It was fun.
Awesome. So, and drop in the comments, guys, what games you're excited for. If you think they'll make the Wonder Woman game, which I really hope they do, and make it good.
I hope it falls through. Yeah.
Not written by Patty Jenkins, because we all know what happened with Wonder Woman 1984. We all know what happened with that one. It's because the problem with that is that she had no oversight in Wonder Woman 2. Wonder Woman 1, she had oversight.
Yeah.
So I'm like, watch this lady. But anyway, that's a good place to leave it. So stay heroic, everyone, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.